Stick with me. You and I are watching a reincarnated villain deliberately kick our main guy right inside the womb. This completely insane stunt gave him a severe heart defect from birth. Doctors claimed he would only make it to age 25. Because of this exact issue, his family completely favored him. But when older brother Mason secretly pushed others to bully him at school and purposely provoked him at home, our boy completely snapped. He targeted Mason right back, wanting their family disgusted enough to abandon him. Our guy Morgan, who just transmigrated into this wild book and caught that womb kick, decided against suffering quietly. He instantly blew things totally out of proportion instead of swallowing his raging anger. He expertly grabbed his smartphone and quickly dialed out. The exact moment they picked up, he screamed at the top of his lungs with a totally deadpan face. "Please stop hitting me! Help me! You absolute monster! How dare you bully Mason? How dare you have his exact same face? Our Mason is the one and only. What gives you the right to steal his spotlight? The more I look at your face, the more incredibly angry I get. I might as well ruin it so Mason will not suffer looking at it later," he yelled dramatically. "Get away from me! Do not come near me." The system watched this Oscar-worthy performance without blinking. He channeled the agonizing pain of getting attacked, the arrogant madness of a ruthless bully, and the absolute despair of having his beautiful face ruined. He quickly grabbed a nearby water bucket, smashing it hard against the floor to simulate a genuinely brutal physical assault. Now pay attention. The absolute racket he made left the system completely dumbfounded. If it only heard the audio without seeing this, it would have sworn Morgan was getting brutally beaten to an absolute pulp right there. After finishing his epic act, he hung up instantly, leaving zero chance for the other side to speak a single word in edgewise. His dad just answered, initially thinking his son needed something. But before he could even say hello, he met those agonizing screams and the muffled, incredibly arrogant voice of a girl. Before processing this total chaos, the call dropped. He desperately tried calling back, but absolutely nobody answered. The more his dad thought about it, the more panicked he got. That terrified scream definitely belonged to his boy. Was his son getting brutally bullied at school? Absolutely no way. He had to rush down there and see for himself. Thinking this, Dad hurriedly grabbed his phone and coat, rushing downstairs. The shocked system curiously asked host, "What exactly were you doing just now?" Morgan gave a faint smirk. "Nothing much. Just curious to see who is better, a green tea or a black lotus." He placed the bucket under the faucet, turning the water on, and ran his hands through his hair, instantly looking like an absolute lunatic. The confused system asked again what the real difference was between those two. He patiently explained that they are equally wicked, just specializing in different fields. The Green Tea masters psychological manipulation, while the Black Lotus fully relies on absolutely ruthless actions and clever scheming. He ordered the system to scan the perimeter carefully, alerting him if anyone came within 50 meters. Let's pause for a second. You and I know he is totally crazy, but dumping a fully brimmed bucket over his own head, soaking himself right to the bone, a freezing breeze blew by, making him shiver uncontrollably. Seeing him essentially drown himself, the frantic system completely panicked. "Host, what are you doing? Your body is super weak right now. If you get totally sick, you are a goner." He smiled. "Just wait." He reminded the system to keep a constant watch on his vitals here. "Remember, before I actually perish, keep me alive at absolutely all costs. Deduct however many points you need, I do not care." The original host had a congenital heart defect and a fragile body where even a little intense workout could prove perilous. He worried he might lose control or face an emergency without giving orders in time, so he left it entirely to the system to handle. He was not like the original host who only bullied people at home while acting tough in front of protagonists, but remained a total coward outside, getting bullied for a whole week without daring to tell the family, practically handing the protagonist a free win. He firmly believes that any man who isn't ruthless enough will never secure his position. Oh, almost forgot. He viciously threw his phone down, stomping it a few times to ensure it was completely broken, then poured more water on it, making sure it was totally beyond repair before he finally stopped. He looked around quickly but could not find any props for a weapon. This massive bathroom only had a stupid bucket. What a shame there wasn't a handier weapon around here. The system asked host, "Do you need prop exchanges? As long as you have enough points, you can get anything." He waved it off. "I can handle this little task myself. No props needed, I still have my hands." He viciously pinched his arm, wincing. Looking down, the original host's fair skin was already bruising badly. A massive purple mark on the white arm looked incredibly striking. He continued pinching more spots with brutal force, slamming his back hard against the bathroom doorframe. And trust me, you and I want to see what happens next. The sharp sting made me grit my teeth. Let's dive into this wild scheme. My back was heavily bruised, but I wasn't finished. I broke a decoration off the door, stood by the mirror, and calculated where to strike next. My injuries looked absolutely terrifying, but honestly, a few weeks of rest would fix me up completely. If the rival actually apologized sincerely, this entire crazy mess might just be quietly swept right under the rug. So I had to throw fuel on this fire to show everyone a quick glimpse of Mason's true colors. Mason had become way craftier since his reincarnation. Not only did he gather school minions, but our dad's strict attitude towards him had visibly softened. His perfectly timed tears made the Woods parents totally rethink how they had neglected him for all these years. Even though things weren't totally fair yet, their treatment of Mason had incredibly improved. I absolutely could not let Mason keep this huge advantage. If he gained control, considering his deep hatred for the original host, I would definitely be finished. Therefore, here is where it gets crazy. To protect my mission and survival, Mason could never rise. When the system warned me the Woods family reached the school, I narrowed my eyes, gripped that sharp decoration tightly, and bravely slashed my very own face. A sharp gasp, a deep, dramatic cut instantly appeared on my right cheek, bright crimson pouring down half my face. I ordered the system to quickly swap the fingerprints on the weapon to another's. The system instantly answered, "Understood, host," handling it immediately. They were finally coming. I tossed the piece away and collapsed onto the messy bathroom floor, struggling dramatically to reach for my entirely shattered phone. I slowly crawled inch by inch, my face totally pale, biting my lip until it broke, drops of crimson blooming like beautiful plum blossoms on the tiles. When Mason and Dad finally discovered me, they saw my miserable state, half my face coated in crimson, crawling painfully on the floor while gripping my chest where my fragile heart was beating. This shocking sight sent Dad into an absolute panic. He rushed over, scooped me up, and loudly screamed, "Morgan, are you okay? How did this even happen? I am taking you to the hospital right now. Move." Saying that, Dad carried me and dashed outside, so totally frantic he even forgot to call an ambulance. I weakly opened my eyes, looking at Dad while tears instantly streamed down my face. "Dad, it hurts so much." Dad hastily comforted me. "It is going to be okay, Morgan. We are heading to the hospital right now." As Dad carried me downstairs, he practically wished he could grow extra legs to run faster. "You saw that coming, right?" "Acting totally wronged," I whimpered. "Dad, why does brother hate me? Why make people strike me? Is it because I am competing for your and Mom's love? Morgan is not as healthy as brother. I cannot last as long as he will. I just want to spend my remaining years happily with you guys. Did I actually do something wrong?" I gasped for breath, acting like I desperately needed a real answer. At this emotional point, Dad obviously just agreed with whatever I said. "There is nothing wrong with Morgan staying with Mom and Dad. We love Morgan the most. Never say things like that again, do you hear me? Mom and Dad are totally counting on you to take care of us in our old age. You are definitely not allowed to leave us, understand?" I took a difficult breath, looking up with a weak, pale smile. "That is good then. I love Mom and Dad the very most. Morgan never wants to leave you." My words became increasingly strained, and finally my vision blurred as I faded into complete darkness. Seeing me close my eyes after those words, pure terror gripped Dad's racing heart. Trembling, he carefully placed his shaking fingers under my nose to check for breath. Thank goodness I was still breathing, even if very faintly. "Mr. Woods, the ambulance has been called. Going this way is much faster." Just as Dad breathed a massive sigh of relief, the school discipline director and principal, who had been searching alongside him, hurriedly led him down another path toward the hospital. When the operating room lights turned off, Dad quickly rushed over to the doctor. "How is my son?" The doctor gravely replied, "Mr. Woods, his condition is much worse than last time. He has multiple fresh wounds and older nasty bruises that haven't faded. His stomach took a huge blow which completely triggered his heart condition. Luckily, he had his medication in time and was brought here quickly. Otherwise, Dad almost completely collapsed, stumbling backward in absolute sheer terror. Once he steadied himself, he demanded, "Why is my son's body in such terrible shape? That is impossible. Our whole family strictly follows your medical advice and handles everything. How could his condition possibly worsen?" The doctor answered bluntly, "He might be well taken care of at home, but clearly not at the school. You saw the terrible state he was in when he arrived. He has been bullied at school and definitely not just for a day or two. The old bruises show this has been happening for a while. Under these awful circumstances, his health completely collapsing is totally expected. Trust me, this changes everything. The doctor sighed. Furthermore, there is a serious issue. Young Master Wood's face has been ruined. He has a severe cut on his right cheek that will probably leave a permanent scar. Stick with me here. When Dad finally realizes that his son's face is completely ruined from constant bullying, he goes into an absolute fit of pure, unhinged rage. The doctor chimed in. Right now, young Master Wood's psychological state needs the absolute most attention. He was bullied and left disfigured. His mental health is just incredibly fragile. I strongly advise your family to grant his wishes and prevent any negative feelings. Plus, you should hire a counselor to check on him just in case he acts tough outside while hiding deep trauma. Mom nodded repeatedly, completely thanking the doctor. We will definitely keep that in mind. After seeing the doctor out, Dad rushed right into the room to watch over me. Seeing me lying there so still, face wrapped in gauze, his anger exploded. His precious, perfectly protected son getting bullied by absolute nobodies. What kind of older brother is Mason Morgan gets completely bullied at school? Maybe he did not notice at first, but for it to go on so long without him knowing. Is this the brotherly love Mason was always preaching about? Always putting his little brother first, right? Suddenly, Dad remembered my final words before I passed out. My bullies were actually sent by Mason. But why Morgan is his little brother with a heart condition? Mason knows his brother's health better than anyone else. How could he do this? No, that is impossible. Dad shook his head. Why assume the absolute worst about Mason? Mason is only 19. How could he be so cruel? It must be a massive misunderstanding. He had to investigate this thoroughly to stop a rift between the brothers. Thinking this, Dad pulled his phone out, ordering someone to investigate everything about me and Mason at school. He also called the school demanding all camera footage since my enrollment and made sure that bathroom scene remained completely untouched. Watch closely. He wanted to see exactly who had the guts to ruin his son's face. Dad stroked my face, his heart completely breaking. Do not worry, Morgan. Dad will not let you suffer for nothing. Right then, his phone rang. Dad looked down, smacked his forehead, and realized he rushed out so fast that he completely forgot to tell his wife. When Mom answered this call and heard Dad recount the story, she immediately ordered her driver to rush straight to the hospital. Mom was absolutely furious. How did Morgan end up like this? Who actually dared to bully my son? Have you investigated this clearly? Let me tell you right now, Morgan is my precious boy. If you handle this like a business deal and leave them an easy way out, I will never, ever forgive you. Mom knew his habit of leaving a back door open in business, avoiding desperate retaliation. Dad promised her right then and there, do not worry about it at all. I absolutely will not let this slide. By the way, where exactly is Mason? Why did he not come with you today? Mom replied coldly. He said he had plans with friends today and would be home very late, so I simply did not call him. Saying that Mom sat beside me looking down with heartbroken eyes, terrified this whole incident would leave me with severe psychological trauma. Dad sighed helplessly. You should not be so cold to Mason. After all, he is your own real son, too. A family should be completely united, right? Mom snapped back. I am cold to him. Whenever he wants anything, I give it to him. If he needs something, he just says the word and someone brings it for him to choose from. Seriously, go and ask around. What family lives as comfortably as he does? Am I too harsh on him? He gets exactly whatever Morgan gets. But if Morgan really can only live to 25, we only have 6 short years left with him. Given that I want Morgan to know that healthy or not, he is my most important, most cherished child. So what if I am a bit biased toward him? You and I both know there is major history here. Because of the past, I will never give Mason a friendly face for the rest of my life. Saying this out loud, Mom finally broke down crying uncontrollably. Seeing Mom cry, Dad panicked, pacing around, wanting to comfort her but clueless on what to say. Just as she was falling apart, I opened my eyes, gently tugged her shirt, and called out weakly, Mom, please do not cry. You will not be pretty if you cry. Morgan really likes it when Mom is pretty. Seeing me finally awake, Mom quickly wiped her tears away. Morgan does anything hurt. Mom will call the doctor right this second. She frantically pressed the call button next to my bed. After a quick exam, the doctor said my condition had stabilized, but I still needed a ton of rest. After the doctor left, Mom asked, Morgan, tell Mom exactly who bullied you. Mom will get justice for you right now. Hearing her concern, I played the helpless victim card perfectly. They hit me and cursed at me, saying I stole my brother's spotlight and made him sad. They said I deserved it, but Mom, I really did not bully him. They were the ones bullying me. I kept the details vague because I knew this situation had blown up way too much to be ignored now. Some things are just way better seen with their own eyes than heard from my mouth. So what do you and I make of this trap? Let's see if Mason can wiggle out. Dad patted Mom's shoulder. Do not worry, I already sent people to investigate. Stick with me, we are diving into some wild family drama. Tell Dad the truth. Dad asked if my brother was behind the attack, dropping that massive question right in front of Mom, absolutely wild and completely bold. I kept my voice super weak and hazy. I do not know, but the guys hitting me mentioned my brother. They claimed I made him mad, so I deserved a beating. I dropped my gaze, playing the ultimate pitiful victim. Hearing Mason's name, Mom completely snapped. How could he? Morgan is his own little brother, and he has a serious heart condition. Everyone else might be clueless, but he knows the truth. How could he, seeing his wife absolutely furious? Dad just sighed heavily. The investigation is still ongoing. Do not rush to judge. If this wrecks the brothers' bond, we cannot easily fix it. What if someone framed Mason to ruin them? Mom shot Dad a massive glare, totally blunt. And you said I was neglecting him. Morgan is sweet and obedient. Mason is just a cold, completely ungrateful brat. Even if he didn't do it, Morgan got bullied at school. As his older brother, he didn't know a single thing. That makes it his fault too, Mom finished ranting and turned. Enough! We will wait for the final results. You go straight home and make some nutritious food for Morgan. Our son seriously needs recovery. 3 years back, doctors finally said I was healthy enough to go outside for normal stuff. Naturally, I really wanted to attend school. The family figured putting both brothers in the exact same school meant they could watch each other's backs. They enrolled me completely, hoping Mason would protect his little brother. Mom was actually totally right. Me getting jumped, whether Mason planned it or not, was a huge failure for him. Hearing about making supplements, Dad just could not sit quietly. He jumped right up. Fine, I will head back and personally cook some bone broth for Morgan. I literally do not trust anyone else doing it. Mom gently said, Morgan, I am heading back right now, but I will return later. Bye for now. I gave a super weak smile, looking completely drained. Goodbye, Mom. After she left, Dad got an urgent call. He grabbed a nurse to watch me and bolted. Then the system finally spoke. Host, please rest. You just had major surgery. Recover now. Seeing me ignoring rest and just staring out the hospital window, the system anxiously gave a quick warning. Now pay close attention here. I mentally replied, I am fine. Where is the female lead? Dealing with Mason requires way more than just my family. Chloe is the absolute ultimate weapon here. The system answered, she is currently overseas, busy negotiating a big contract. I clicked my tongue in annoyance. Really massive pity. If she is completely out of town, I cannot use her yet. I ordered the system exchange points for my heart medication. This original body is insanely frail. Just surviving one single surgery triggered a ton of blaring system warnings. If I had not set up auto vitals beforehand, I definitely would have faded away on that operating table. The system warned me, host strict plot rules mean this medicine only improves your current state compared to before. It absolutely cannot fully cure your severe congenital heart disease. Medical tech in this world is not advanced enough for a complete cure, so you are totally stuck. I just replied, I know all that by the meds. I totally understood the system limit, so zero arguments. Now you and I get to check on the real villain here. Mason just returned, casually dropping shopping bags everywhere and rudely ordering the poor maid. Martha, pour me water. Coming home this late, why didn't you just sleep on the street? Mom had just returned from the hospital with my food. Seeing Mason completely bossing Martha around, she frowned heavily, her voice dripping with absolute sarcasm. Mason completely froze, but he instantly faked a huge smile, walking over to help Mom sit. He respectfully offered her the water. What do you mean, Mom? This is my actual home. Why wouldn't I return? Mom scoffed with ice in her voice. Oh, you remember this is home. I honestly thought you treated this house like a hotel. She totally ignored his desperate brown-nosing, turning straight to Martha to demand a fresh glass of lemonade instead. Then her eyes locked onto Mason. She aggressively demanded, tell me right now, how has Morgan been doing at school? Do you know anything at all? Despite Dad saying not to accuse without solid proof, her mom instinct screamed this guy was absolutely involved, especially since Mason was usually super quiet. But lately he kept crying to Dad about feeling neglected. Mom felt like her son had mutated into a total stranger she did not recognize. Hearing her ask about me, Mason's internal panic alarms exploded. Mom rarely asked him about school, always going straight to me or calling my teachers directly. For her to suddenly question him, that meant something went horribly wrong. Worse, he had not even seen me since arriving home. Mason nervously replied, "Mom club activities kept me super busy lately, so I missed Morgan's situation. But it is fine. I will call him." He grabbed his phone, but Mom shut that down fast. "Trust me, you and I will love what happens next." "Enough, I knew you were completely useless." She glared at him with pure disgust, totally fed up. "Stick with me, this gets wild." She snapped, clueless about his brother at school, questioning why he was even born. Just a total burden. Mom was always so harsh on Mason. Even though they were both her kids, all her sweet affection and deep love were completely reserved for me. She barely noticed Mason tossing him half-hearted greetings every now and then. To Mom, I was the absolute favorite son. But for Mason, she was an incredibly terrible mother. Without family ties and living under the exact same roof, they were basically total strangers. Hearing those incredibly cruel words, Mason truly felt a sharp, heavy sting of deep pain. He knew forever that Mom only ever cared about me. He would never get a single drop of her real affection, but her freezing attitude still stung him so badly. Why did Morgan easily get whatever he wanted? Why was Morgan totally adored while he had absolutely nothing? Just because Morgan was frail and sick, he had to give up every single good thing to him. Parents, a partner, everything. Why was absolutely everyone so wildly biased toward Morgan? He was a Woods family son, too. Suddenly, Mom sharply cut off Mason's dark inner thoughts. "Zip it! Morgan went to the hospital today. Tomorrow you are visiting him with me." Fair warning. Morgan is incredibly fragile. Upset him and you are finished. Even with absolutely zero proof of his involvement, Mom totally refused to hold back her intense, venomous rage at him. Hospitalized Mason coughed, looking completely and utterly stunned. Morgan was at the hospital and he had zero clue. Mom angrily yelled, "What kind of brother are you? Admitted this afternoon and you partied until midnight? Do you even have a heart?" With that dramatic exit, Mom stormed upstairs to quickly wash up and get some rest. Mason quickly turned to the maid. "Martha, do you know anything about Morgan?" Martha quietly replied, "I am not really sure." The parents barely spoke, but it all happened around 3 p.m. I remember the master acting totally frantic, ordering the driver to rush to school immediately. Mason slowly lowered his head, lost in deep thought. Now pay close attention here. This was no simple issue. Thank goodness he stayed totally silent about me, or he would have completely dug his own massive grave. "Thanks, Martha. I am fine. Go back to work." Finding out I was hospitalized did not improve Mason's mood at all. He knew perfectly well that Dad rushing me to the hospital meant the wild school bullying had finally been totally exposed. What he urgently needed now was to wash his hands completely clean and avoid getting totally implicated. His hired lackeys were basically harmless. The real danger was if I actually knew he orchestrated everything. Realizing this terrifying fact, Mason's face completely darkened. Looks like he needed to visit me tomorrow to quietly fish some information right out of my mouth. The very next morning, Mason arrived early at the quiet hospital. Pushing the door open, he completely froze. I was leaning against the headboard, angled softly toward the bright window. Bright morning light spilled over me, giving me a wonderfully ethereal, pure glow. A gentle smile played on my lips, making me look less like a mere mortal and more like an ascending immortal with a crazy, kingly aura. Mason stared completely blankly for a second before shaking his head aggressively, discarding those totally absurd thoughts. Morgan being some pure, flawless immortal. Literally the biggest joke in the entire world, though he honestly had to admit my face was just incredibly, incredibly deceiving. If he did not already know my completely rotting core, he would have been entirely fooled by this angelic facade. "You saw that fake smile, right?" Mason took a deep breath and walked right in. I turned, saw him standing there, and flashed a super faint, dismissive smile. "Oh, just you." Despite my completely unfriendly tone, Mason easily maintained his gentle facade. He placed a fruit basket on the nightstand, softly asking Morgan, "Mom told me you were hospitalized today." "I got home late yesterday, so I missed it. You are not mad, right?" I just chuckled mockingly, fully humored by his completely ridiculous words. "Give it a rest. Mom telling you about my business? Who are you kidding here? Mom barely even talks to you. Why would she willingly volunteer any information about me?" My smile completely dripped with pure contempt, tone super arrogant, seeing right through his incredibly pathetic little act. Mason totally feigned hurt. "Morgan, why are you talking to me like this? Did I do something to actually upset you? If I did something wrong, just tell me and I will fix it." I turned toward the window, replying absolutely coldly, "Cut the complete crap. Nobody else is here. I really underestimated you. I never expected you to actually flip the script, but it is a total shame. You totally forgot we are both sons of the powerful Woods family. The family is our ultimate backing. Do you really think your little pawns will keep your dirty secret? Once Dad applies some serious pressure, they will obediently confess and desperately beg on their knees for my forgiveness. Think they will keep their mouths perfectly shut or accidentally spill something they absolutely should not." I turned right back, eyes brimming with totally fake curiosity, looking genuinely excited to witness this upcoming epic train wreck. Mason totally played dumb. "What are you talking about? I do not understand at all. How could I ever tell people to hurt you? What do you and I learn here?" I looked at him, highly amused. "Mason, you blew your cover. I never once specified what happened. All right, let's jump in. Why assume I meant the school bullying? Could it be about something entirely different?" Mason completely froze, suddenly realizing he just walked straight into my trap. Since we were already massive enemies, knowing the truth changed absolutely nothing. So what if you actually figured it out? Mason stood up slowly, shooting me a freezing glare. "From start to finish, I never actually explicitly ordered them to target you. I merely dropped a few vague hints. Just like before, tossing confusing words to your loyal fans, making sure the entire school isolated you completely. Even without physical harm, that psychological torture was absolutely undeniably severe. I am simply returning that physical and mental suffering 1,000 times over." I picked up an orange, casually peeling it. "You seem pretty confident. Confidence is great, but pure arrogance is asking for trouble." I looked up at him with a smug grin. "You are totally right. I completely lack hard evidence about those orders. But if their families hit absolute rock bottom and someone offers a tiny suggestion, do you honestly think they will not immediately bite back?" Smirking, I handed Mason the peeled orange. He totally panicked. "Morgan, what are you planning?" He aggressively grabbed my shoulder, desperately demanding answers. "Ow, that hurts!" My eyes instantly filled with tears, looking at Mason playing the absolute ultimate victim. "Stop playing victim, you deserve this pain," seeing me whine. Mason felt purely triumphant, but he absolutely did not expect my sudden attitude change. "Now watch this!" "Mason, what are you doing?" Mom walked in, catching Mason gripping my shoulder while I cried in pain. Instead of letting go, he actually squeezed harder. Absolutely furious and terrified, Mom stormed over and shoved Mason away violently. Caught off guard, he stumbled hard and twisted his ankle. "Morgan, are you okay?" Mom hovered closely over me, terrified to touch me and cause more pain. I used my most pathetic, helpless voice. "Mom, I am totally fine, just my back hurts slightly." I even played the perfect understanding angel defending him. "Mom, don't blame brother. He didn't mean it." That single sentence completely melted Mom's heart with my pure goodness, making her despise Mason even more. She slammed her purse down and screamed at him. "I told you to come here to comfort your brother. Make him happy, not put your hands on him. If you know you are useless, why stay here? Get out. Listen to me. I am telling your father exactly what you did here today. You claim I neglect you. Look at yourself. Can you even compare to Morgan?" I pulled Mom's sleeve, looking deeply distressed. "Mom, please stop. Brother will be sad. He didn't do it on purpose. Please do not be angry. You will get wrinkles and won't be pretty." Hearing me defend him, Mason was completely fuming. "You and I both know what I was doing." Spitting pure sarcasm disguised as sweet begging, actively trying to ruin him. Mom saw Mason glaring, completely unrepentant, but she refused to waste breath on this totally resentful son. "Are you leaving or not?" She chased him right out without a single second thought, then warmly turned back to me. "Morgan, Mom will visit you again later." Mason, knowing when to fold, fully understood I had completely outplayed him. Gritting his teeth, he forced a fake smile and waved. "I am leaving." I flashed a totally plastic smile and cheerfully waved back. "Bye-bye, brother." Mom grumbled, "Stay away from your brother from now on, lest he sells you out and you literally help him count the money." She poked my forehead in exasperation, basically lecturing me like an incredibly naive child. "He is not entirely bad, just a bit jealous because your dad and I love you so much. It's totally fine. He'll get over it eventually." I didn't argue, using a conceding tone to secure my victory while happily defending him. Yes, Mom, I'll be careful around brother. In Mom's eyes, I was a pure, kind, understanding angel simply leagues above Mason. Even after his rebirth, when Mason tried crying to Dad to shift the household dynamics in Mom's eyes, that was just solid proof of his highly manipulative nature. 1. Zia, the sweet, obedient son. The other, the scheming, calculating one. The ultimate choice was completely obvious. I smiled and agreed. Yes, I'll be careful. Mom suddenly remembered something. Morgan. Mom found someone to just talk to you. Your dad and I cannot be here 24/7, and we are afraid you'll get lonely. This person will just chat with you to keep you company. She was deeply worried about my mental state after the bullying, intensely trying to nip any potential trauma right in the bud. Wait, someone to talk to me. I was mildly confused. Especially hiring a person just to chat. Is this how rich people actually live? I asked the system. Do you know what is going on? The system replied instantly. Host. They are afraid the bullying caused post-traumatic stress, so they hired a professional psychiatrist to evaluate you. But since they are worried you might resist, they phrased it nicely like this. Catching Mom's drift, I gave a gentle smile. Okay, Mom, I understand. A psychiatrist. If played right, this could be a truly fantastic trump card. Seeing me agree so easily, Mom nodded in satisfaction. Good. I'll have him come tomorrow. You and I just witnessed a beautifully warm, completely fake mother-son hospital moment. Let's dive right into this crazy teen drama. Mason stormed out of the hospital feeling completely panicked. I acted 100% certain he was the mastermind, but he hid his face. How did I know? Panicking, he called his lackeys for a quick meetup. Thanks to those clueless goons, he finally realized my trick. Turns out those fools chanted his name every single time they attacked me. Honestly, a toddler could have figured it out. Mason did Morgan start trouble again. Sonia, one of the main bullies, saw his sour face and instantly jumped to conclusions. Maybe Morgan just lost his temper over his poor health. I am sure he meant no harm. Mason pretended to defend me but made sure I looked like the troublemaker. He cleverly pinned the blame on me. We brothers were alike in that way. We both loved playing mind games. Furious for Mason, Sonia totally slammed the table. Looks like we went too easy on him last time. Next time, I am going to teach him a serious lesson. Blinded by her anger, Sonia totally forgot that attacking me was her own rogue plan, not Mason's direct order. She blurted out the truth. Mason glared in fake shock. You attacked Morgan? Sonia panicked, realizing her massive slip-up, and grabbed his arm. Mason, listen, but Mason cut her off, desperate to wash his hands clean. Why would you hurt Morgan? He is my little brother. I thought we were friends. Going behind my back to hurt him. How can I face him now? I am so incredibly disappointed in you. Watch this acting masterclass. Mason put on an award-winning show of heartbreak, pretending he was devastated his best friend hurt his brother. Sonia was completely stunned. Mason, I only did it for you. Why say this? Mason replied coldly. You did not do it for me. You are ruining my life. Morgan is family. You attacked him for me. How ridiculous. Mason's eyes turned red with fake fury. I think we need to stay far apart. I cannot accept you hurting my family. We are totally done with that. He just spun around and bolted out. Sonia stood there dumbfounded, suddenly cut off by her best friend. What did he even mean? She had a fiery temper. Obviously, or she would not be ambushing people in random bathrooms. She truly thought she was helping Mason. He always complained about me bullying him, crying about his deep suffering as the older brother. Without Mason, why target a kid like me? Yet after all that, Mason threw her under the bus and cut ties. The cronies quickly tried soothing her. Do not be mad, Sonia. Mason just needs time. Give him space. They were not idiots. Anyone could see Mason was totally using her. You see the trap, right? Sonia truly believed he was a friend, becoming the perfect scapegoat for the Woods family. Seeing through the lies, they played dumb. Sonia foolishly believed Mason was true and always protected him. But now that things got messy, Mason completely bailed just to save his own cowardly skin. If the family found out, he would be ruined. After a moment of rage, Sonia actually reconsidered. No, this is definitely not Mason's true intention. Believing in his pure heart, she concluded he would never cut ties without a proper explanation. There must be a huge misunderstanding, or someone was forcing him. The prime suspect. Me, Morgan Woods. Very well, Sonia raged, slamming the table. Morgan, I thought you learned your lesson. Looks like you are still a brat. Just wait. Next time I will not hold back for Mason's sake. Everyone exchanged awkward glances. They were thoroughly confused why Sonia blamed me when Mason was obviously the mastermind pulling all the strings. Yet she dumped all the guilt on my shoulders. One friend patted her back. "Do not worry, Sonia. Next time we will do it cleanly without leaving a single trace." Sonia nodded happily. "Do a good job and I will not let you down." Meanwhile, back in the hospital, a middle-aged man entered my room. "Second young Master Woods, the weather is lovely today. How about I take you outside to catch some warm sun?" This was the psychiatrist my parents hired. He looked ordinary but had this incredibly friendly aura that made me drop my guard. I smiled and politely declined him. "No need. Thank you. The window is fine." I lowered my head, acting timid. The doctor frowned, then quickly smiled. "Let me open the curtains." He was hired to evaluate my trauma from the bullying. Since I might resist the help, my parents asked him to go undercover and quietly observe. "So what do you and I make of this?" He found zero bullying trauma, but thought my personality was slightly abnormal. Still, he could not make a diagnosis yet. He needed more observation to avoid a huge mistake. "Let's dive in." I smiled sweetly. "Thank you, sir." Suddenly, Mason strutted right in. "Morgan, I'm here." My eyes totally lit up. "Brother, you made it. Finally, the real drama could begin." I happily pointed at the chair beside me. "Have a seat." Mason just glanced at the older guy, assuming he was some hired help, and totally relaxed. Feeling any better, I heard everything from Sonia, and guess what? I completely cut all ties with her. He intentionally bragged, thinking the older man was a nobody, but little did Mason know he was actually a top-tier famous psychiatrist. Just a few sentences were totally enough to profile anyone. Mason treating this expert like a background character was about to cost him big time. I earnestly grabbed Mason's hand. "Brother, we are literally family. How could I ever be mad at you over some random outsiders?" Mason kept up his little act. "Morgan, if you are upset, just say it. I know Sonia messed up. If you want to vent, take it out on me. I will not fight." He tried pulling away, but seeing the helper nearby, he flipped his script. He warmly squeezed my hand, claiming everything was fine since brothers never hold silly grudges. I just beamed a huge, radiant smile back. Mason was secretly boiling inside. He totally did not expect me to stay this calm and refuse to snap today. He definitely underestimated me. What he totally missed, though, was how the smart psychiatrist's entire gaze had completely shifted toward him. But for purely professional reasons, the doctor stayed quiet. Sighing heavily, Mason realized he could not provoke me today and stood up. "Morgan, I am super busy. Watch closely here. I will visit later since his plan totally failed. Sticking around was useless." I just happily watched him walk away. Once he vanished, the doctor finally spoke up. "Second young master, my deepest apologies. I have an urgent matter. Could you rest alone for a bit?" he asked in a gentle voice. I timidly waved my hand. "It is completely fine, sir. Go ahead. I am pretty tired anyway and want to sleep. I will take my leave then." The doctor frowned slightly, hiding his deep thoughts extremely well. He could now confirm I had zero trauma from the bullying, but my current psychological condition was actually way more severe. I was just a massive people-pleaser. Dad stared in pure shock at his diagnosis. "Dr. Taylor, I heard you are a leading expert, which is exactly why I spent an absolute fortune to hire you to counsel my poor son. And now you are saying he lacks trauma, just having a habit of pleasing everyone afflicted with this so-called bizarre people-pleasing personality type right now. Are you joking with me right now?" Dr. Taylor dropped his gentle vibe, replying with dead serious professionalism. "Mr. Woods, I am speaking the absolute truth here. The second young master truly has zero hidden trauma from that bullying. However, he has a huge tendency to try and please everyone. Typically, this rare condition stems from two main causes. One is that he was deeply hurt before, so he tries to please everyone around him to avoid getting hurt again. Number two is he desperately craves attention, wanting to look totally perfect to everyone. Both are clear signs of lacking any security. The second young master is incredibly insecure. Dad immediately rejected this wild idea, saying it was totally impossible. His mother and I gave him endless love and warm care since he was a baby. He has always lived under our family's absolute protection. It was only recently, because his overall health finally improved, that we let him attend school. You and I both know this makes no sense. Why would Morgan need to fight for any attention? We have given him plenty of love and absolute protection. Claiming he lacks security is just total nonsense." Dr. Taylor calmly replied, "Why do you not try asking the second young master for his very own thoughts? If you think I am wrong, just ask what is going on inside his head. Once you do, you will realize your understanding of him has never been complete. Dad did not deny it entirely. After all, Dr. Taylor was a top expert here. If he claimed this, there really had to be a solid basis. He pondered, "I will consider this matter." Dr. Taylor continued, "Mr. Woods, although this is outside my normal scope, I must say it. The mental state of your eldest son is not to be taken lightly either. Even through just a few brief sentences, I noticed his abnormality. Thanks to my deep professional instincts, I can tell that boy harbors immense jealousy and a strong vindictive mindset. If left unchecked, I fear it will lead to absolute disaster. I say this not for money, but purely out of my responsibility as a psychiatrist. I strongly advise you to pay attention to your other son." He then recounted the awkward scene inside the hospital room. The eldest boy spoke words of concern, but in reality he intentionally poked at another person's deep emotional wounds. Could a person of his age really be so incredibly naive as to not understand how the real world works? Even someone with zero psychology knowledge knows a bullied kid is terrified of having those painful memories brought up again. What do you and I think about that? Those memories could truly become a lifelong nightmare. Stick with me here. The older brother totally said that on purpose, trying to trigger the younger one again. Dr. Taylor didn't know their exact history, but he definitely noticed how I always tried to keep Mason happy and calm. An aggressive kid is tough to handle, but a super weak one just gets bullied without even knowing it, too scared to speak up. Even with Dad's amazing patience, hearing a doctor say both his boys had psychological problems was a tough pill to swallow. Keeping his cool took some serious self-control. He just politely thanked Dr. Taylor for his time. He promised to wire the session fee right away and basically told the doctor he was free to go. Dr. Taylor wasn't shocked at all. He just urged Mr. Woods to seriously consider his advice for the sake of both boys' futures. He even challenged Dad to bring in another professional to double-check his diagnosis. With over 20 years of experience, he admitted he couldn't cure everyone, but he was absolutely confident in his assessment. Leaving Dad with that heavy thought, Dr. Taylor finally packed up and walked right out of the room. Dad just sat there in silence for ages. Ultimately, his love for his boys won out over his pride. He immediately phoned his assistant, demanding they track down another top-tier expert to verify everything. Hearing the system repeat all this to me, I hid under my blankets and just started giggling to myself. That doctor was incredibly sharp. He basically tore away Mason's Black Lotus disguise right in front of our dad. Now pay attention to this part. Dad didn't totally buy it yet, but with this seed planted, he won't be completely shocked when everything explodes. I quietly started figuring out exactly how long I needed to play sick. Honestly, thanks to the system's medicine, I felt amazing just 2 days post-surgery, but I stayed put for 2 big reasons. First, my folks were stressing out. Second, Mason would be super cautious at home, making my revenge plans way more difficult. If I wanted to finish this mission fast, going home was totally off the table. Still, my goal of messing with Mason worked perfectly. Honestly, that awful hospital smell was really starting to get on my nerves. Suddenly, the system chimed in with huge news: the female lead was heading back home. Since the system always tracks our main characters, it warned me the second she started packing. I couldn't believe she was moving so fast. With her returning this early, I had to completely milk this hospital drama. I absolutely needed to stay in bed until she showed up. Hey, I was injured here. Someone needed to show me a little sympathy, right? I told the system to leak my hospital status to her immediately and to alert me when she landed so I could look extra pathetic. I already smashed my phone on purpose. That way, the moment Chloe heard the news, her worried texts would just go completely unanswered. Being phoneless gave me the absolute best, most innocent excuse to totally ghost her, and obviously getting totally ignored would make her panic and rush straight over. You see where this is going, right? Her feelings are my ultimate weapon against Mason. In the past timeline, sure, the host accidentally caused the male lead's terrible injuries, but his ultimate downfall wasn't completely his fault. The host suffered a sudden heart attack, and Chloe, who was completely hopelessly in love with him, prioritized saving the host, abandoning the terribly injured male lead in grave danger. After reincarnating, the male lead absolutely despised the host, but surprisingly, he still wanted to marry Chloe. That proved his feelings for her were unbelievably deep. He literally forgave the very woman who abandoned him in grave danger. If I didn't use this, I'd be wasting his obsessive love and the terrible beating I endured. I'm super petty and I already set up the absolute perfect trap for Mason. The system nervously chimed in, reminding me I needed to keep the female lead guessing. I absolutely couldn't return her feelings, and eventually I had to push her toward him. The system was practically sweating, terrified I'd actually romance her out of spite and ruin everything. I told it to chill out. Even if I wanted to play games, I needed the absolute perfect timing first. I wouldn't cross any major lines before finishing the mission, but playing a little toxic guessing game, totally fair play. Knowing the male lead's jealous personality, I bet he absolutely won't be able to stand it. Those recent incidents had already planted some serious seeds of doubt in my parents' minds. Now I just needed one perfect chance to ruthlessly expose Mason's Black Lotus mask. The second that guy dared to touch me again, this mission was practically a guaranteed win. Trust me, you and I are gonna love watching her grand entrance when it happens. Meanwhile, totally clueless about my wild schemes, Chloe was just happily shopping for my gift at some fancy mall. Stick with me before going overseas. She promised to handpick my gift. Just picturing the huge smile on my face made her lips curl into a genuine grin. "Excuse me, could you take this one out for me to look at?" Chloe asked, pointing straight at a luxury watch. But the store clerk, completely frozen, just staring blankly right at her. Because true beauty crosses borders. Even as a foreigner unaccustomed to her style, anyone with eyes would be mesmerized by her gorgeousness. "Excuse me, please grab this watch for me." Chloe frowned, her voice instantly dropping a few degrees. She absolutely hated being stared at. It made her feel like some rare animal on display at a zoo. Snapping back to reality, the clerk quickly fetched the shiny watch for her. She carefully checked out the unique diamond-studded face. Finding it absolutely perfect, Chloe gave the order, "Wrap this one up for me." She paused for a second and added, "Please pick out another similar watch and wrap it up with this one." She was personally picking out my gift, sure, but she definitely could not forget to buy something for Mason, too. Because if she forgot, with my hopelessly soft heart, I would absolutely just give my gift to Mason to keep him happy. Seeing me give away her presents hurt, but Mason casually taking them was way worse. Did that guy seriously not know those expensive gifts were for me? After this happened a few times, Chloe finally learned her lesson. Whenever she bought my gift, she prepped an extra one for Mason, just as those gifts were finally wrapped. Now watch closely, things get wild here. Her assistant suddenly called, saying I had a huge incident, vanished from school, never went home, and was likely hospitalized. Hearing that news, Chloe absolutely panicked. She instantly hopped straight onto her private jet and rushed right back to the country. After asking Mom about my situation, Chloe bolted straight into the hospital room. "Morgan, are you doing okay?" In that moment, she completely lost her usual cool and calm vibe. She ran so fast she looked totally disheveled, with a thin layer of sweat dotting her forehead. Seeing her there, my eyes instantly lit up, overflowing with pure happiness as I shouted, "Chloe!" I tried sitting up, but Chloe quickly stepped forward and gently pressed me right back down, frantically scanning me from head to toe. Spotting the bandages taped to my face, she asked anxiously, "Why are you in the hospital? Didn't your health finally get better?" "I just went abroad for a tiny bit." "Why are you admitted here? What is up with the injury on your face? Does anything else hurt? Did someone bully you at school? Tell me, I will get justice." With no outsiders around, my incredible Oscar campaign totally resumed. I put on my absolute best pitiful face and whimpered, "It has nothing to do with my brother. He was completely tricked too. They used his name, saying they hurt me because of him." I was so stupid. I actually believed them and told Mom it was his fault. What do I do now, Chloe? I want to explain to Mom, but I am terrified she will think I framed him on purpose. "Chloe, do you think I did it on purpose?" My eyes glinted with fear, locking onto her intensely, acting like her answer was my absolute lifeline. Chloe immediately comforted me. "Morgan, please do not feel bad. Tell me everything clearly and I will help you analyze it." She felt totally conflicted. One second I blamed Mason, then I was backtracking, claiming he got framed. At first I sounded so completely sure Mason was the culprit. "I know what you are thinking, absolute genius, right?" I sighed and slowly spun my web, changing my tune to make him look completely innocent. "It started when I first enrolled. Recently, my brother said he cut ties with those guys, claiming he had zero idea they were treating me so badly. He said he cut them off for my sake, yet I misunderstood him, thinking he hated me and purposely ordered those people to bully me. I even believed those bullies and honestly thought my own brother was being horrible to me." Hearing my dramatic story, smart Chloe immediately sensed something was seriously off. Whether this involved Mason or not, I only ever heard things through others. Plus, I had such a gentle personality and never fought with a single soul. Why would those bullies target me out of nowhere? Someone definitely had to be pulling the strings behind the scenes. But who exactly Mason went to the exact same school as me and was a senior upperclassman? Was it really possible he had zero connections or never heard a single rumor about me getting bullied for so long? Just how incredibly heartless was he? If he truly was not involved, fine. But if he was, what kind of completely sick mindset did Mason have while just watching me get bullied, playing totally dumb when the family found out and then acting like a fake victim in front of me to garner sympathy? Seeing Chloe lower her head in deep thought, I asked pitifully, "Chloe, do you think I am being terrible by not clarifying things with Mom?" Seeing the deep worry and fake insecurity shining in my eyes, she hurriedly explained, "How could you be? I just think there is something super weird about all this. Mason goes to your exact school. So what do you and I take from this? The trap worked. Even if he didn't see the bullying, he definitely should have heard whispers. Stick with me here. How did he know absolutely nothing for that long, huge mystery? Mason washing his hands of this so perfectly just makes him look way more suspicious." I totally played dumb. "You mean my brother lied?" Chloe replied super cautiously. "The investigation is ongoing, so I can't guarantee it was Mason. But my gut says even if he didn't pull the strings, his hands definitely aren't completely clean here. Morgan, please don't worry. I'll have someone investigate this thoroughly. Just relax now." She made a call demanding a total background check on everything involving me since school started. She needed to guarantee I faced absolute zero risks. The Woods family was a massive titan in the business world. Anyone daring to mess with me needed backing at least on par with them. Dad always left a safe exit in his business deals. So someone ruthlessly going after the Woods family's son without a massive hidden motive made zero sense at all. There was definitely some hidden agenda. I asked nervously Chloe, "If my brother is actually involved, should I tell Mom I really don't want our family fighting? Recently my brother said things that made my parents argue. I really don't want to ruin our whole family's vibe. But if I stay quiet, I'm scared worse things might happen. Am I just too weak and hesitant?" Chloe gently comforted me. "It's not weakness. You're just too kind. You always want the best outcome and for everyone to stay happy. That is a great intention, never a flaw. But kindness needs limits sometimes. If the investigation points to your brother, you must tell your mom. You have a very soft personality while Mason is super aggressive. I don't care how tough he is, I'm worried you'll suffer. Watch closely now." She realized I was constantly sacrificing my own well-being just for Mason's sake. I hesitated. "But if I actually report my brother, wouldn't Mom get extremely furious with him?" Chloe quietly lowered her voice. "It's way better she gets mad than letting him choose the wrong path. If you hide this just to avoid her anger, he'll think his actions are completely right, only straying much further down a very twisted and dark road. You started out wanting the best, but you'll end up ruining him. Wouldn't that completely defeat your entirely good original intention?" I acted totally uncertain. "So reporting him is really okay." Chloe smiled so gently. "It is completely okay. It is the right thing." I took a deep breath, looking at her with bright, sparkling eyes. "I really trust you, Chloe." She smiled in satisfaction, pulling a small gift box out of her pocket. "Here, this is a special gift I specifically picked for you." I happily accepted it, absolutely beaming as I thanked her. "I love it so much." "By the way, how did you know I was hospitalized?" Chloe smiled lightly. "My personal assistant told me. Something this incredibly huge happened. Why didn't you tell me?" I put on an apologetic face. "My phone broke. Besides, it's no big deal. I'm used to hospitals. You were super busy abroad anyway. I felt bad bothering you. I figured by the time you returned I'd be discharged. Who knew plans never keep up with sudden changes?" Chloe sighed heavily and spoke sternly. "Next time something happens, you absolutely have to tell me. Hear me?" I nodded, promising I would remember. She suddenly suggested, "The weather is absolutely gorgeous today. Let me take you outside to catch some sun." I smiled, nodding, and let her gently support me as we finally headed out. When Mason finally came to visit me, he saw Chloe so patiently supporting me for a nice garden walk. "You feel that tension, right?" His hands balled up, eyes burning with toxic hatred glaring at me. Feeling those scorching laser beams on my back, I quickly turned around, catching Mason before he hid that dark intent in his eyes. I smiled warmly and enthusiastically yelled, "Brother!" Mason jumped, his whole body stiffening up as Chloe looked over. He awkwardly greeted Morgan. "Chloe!" Chloe frowned, sensing something incredibly weird about Mason's attitude. Why on earth was he so tense? Almost like he was hiding a massive dark secret. Realizing he was totally losing his composure, Mason quickly shifted the subject. Chloe, weren't you on a business trip abroad? When did you get back? Chloe smiled faintly. I just finished up. I heard Morgan was hospitalized, so I came visiting. Oh, here is a special gift for you. I already gave Morgan his. She handed the shiny gift box to Mason, then helped me sit down on a bench. Mason opened it, and seeing that incredibly familiar item, his fake smile completely froze solid. He slowly closed the box and muttered, Thanks. I love it. I'll keep it safe. Even though he had been miraculously reborn, many things remained unchanged. He remembered this exact gift perfectly. In his past life, this was a present I hadn't wanted, so I simply re-gifted it to him. Initially, he was naive enough to think Chloe bought it specifically for him, staying absolutely thrilled for so long. It wasn't until my big birthday party that he realized this unique gift was just my discarded trash. Now, even though it never passed through my hands first, the gift still ended up with him. So what do you and I make of this? If destiny is unchangeable, what was the point of his rebirth? Come along with me. Mason gripped that gift box tight, pure fury burning inside. But with Chloe right there, he played it safe. I took a slow breath and said, Chloe, I am pretty wiped out. Let's head back to our room. Seeing his face, I knew perfectly well that his raging jealousy was completely overflowing. He would never try anything shady around Chloe, but once she left, he might totally snap. It was definitely the smartest move to retreat back to the room. Chloe totally agreed without hesitation. Okay, let's get you resting. Mason cut in with a freezing tone. Chloe, I actually just remembered a super urgent errand, so I will head out. Morgan let her take you back. Terrified that staying a second longer would make him completely lose his temper, he scrambled for a quick excuse to bail. Watching him rush away, I gave Chloe my best puppy dog eyes. Is brother still mad at me? She quickly comforted me. You are totally overthinking it. Didn't he literally just mention an urgent errand? He is not targeting you. Let's go back. You seriously need to rest, I nodded. After she escorted me back, the system chimed in. Host Mason just stormed out of the hospital and did something totally hilarious. Now, pay attention because this gets wild. If Chloe leaves quickly right now, she might actually catch him in the act. Otherwise, she misses it. Chloe, you should head home today. My parents arrive soon anyway. Go do your own things. Do not worry about me. She gently replied, It is completely fine. I will wait right here until your parents show up. Leaving you alone feels totally wrong. I quickly fired back, Who says I am alone? I have a nurse. I just skipped calling her because you were here. You literally just returned home. You must have mountains of backlogged work. If your job gets delayed just to babysit me, I will feel incredibly guilty. My dad stayed here for days and everything went perfectly fine. My parents are honestly just panicking over nothing. I will get discharged super soon anyway. Once you finally finish your work, just swing by my house to hang out together. Seeing how perfectly I planned every detail, Chloe hesitated for a split second before nodding. All right, I will head back then. I will come visit when I finish. Get some sleep. With no solid reason to stay, she bounced. I hovered by the window, watching her walk away, flashing a bright smile and waving. She offered a soft gaze, waved back, and finally left the hospital grounds. Walking past a random trash can, her sharp eyes instantly locked onto a super familiar gift box. Wait, wasn't that the exact gift she just handed Mason? Why toss it away so fast? Before she could even process this wild mystery, a cleaner walked by to empty the bin, knocking the box right onto the ground. The expensive item spilled out. Chloe froze right in her tracks, scooped it up, and stared hard. It was absolutely the exact present she gave Mason. If he hated it, couldn't he just reject it right to her face? You saw that too, right? Acting completely thrilled to her face, then chucking it the second he turned away. Sure, she did not craft it herself, but she literally brought it all the way from overseas. It is the thought that matters. He could have just said no, so why completely crush her genuine kindness like this? The janitor, noticing her clutching the watch in total shock, asked, Miss, is this yours? Chloe snapped back and answered, Oh yes, this is mine. I dropped it earlier. Thanks for the help. The janitor waved it off casually. No problem at all. Just keep your valuables safe next time. Luck won't always save you. Chloe pocketed the shiny item, quietly promising herself that the very next time she ran into Mason, she would absolutely grill him to discover if he lost it or deliberately trashed it. The second I got discharged, Mom was overflowing with joy. Morgan, to celebrate coming home, we prepared gifts for you. Are you super excited? The moment I stepped inside, Mom revealed this huge surprise, having sworn the entire household to absolute secrecy about it. Faking total shock, I stepped up and grabbed the gorgeous box. "Is this really just for me?" Mom grinned wide. "This one is mine and that one is from Dad." I hugged the boxes like my life depended on it, looking up with bright eyes. "Can I take them upstairs to unwrap?" Mom gave a warm smile. "They belong to you, sweetie. Tear them open whenever." Meanwhile, Mason just lurked in the background, shooting daggers at this disgustingly wholesome picture of our happy family. Dad noticed Mason lingering there with an incredibly bitter face, walked over quietly and muttered, "Mason, I left a little something in your room. Open it later." Mason forced a truly fake smile. "Thanks, Dad." Satisfied, Dad nodded and strolled off. The second he vanished, Mason glared at us with pure venom. Notice how none of them actually talked about his hidden present out loud. My stuff got practically paraded through the living room, almost like they desperately wanted to show it all off. But his present, handled like some dirty contraband, shoved secretly into his bedroom, hidden away from the entire universe. How was it fair that Morgan easily grabbed everything he desired while both were technically their sons? So what do you and I make of this? Mason always gets treated like an outcast, hiding in the shadows forever.
You and I are about to watch some epic drama.
Boiling with rage, Mason stormed into his room. Opening his door, he spotted a gift box. Dad knew perfectly well Mom would never prepare a present for Mason. Because of my recent hospital stay, Mom's heart truly ached for her suffering youngest boy, so she specifically prepared a special surprise for me. There was zero chance she would think about Mason, but Dad remembered what Mason said earlier. Dad realized that for years, due to my fragile health, they poured all their attention into me and totally ignored poor Mason. Past mistakes needed fixing. He could not change his wife's stubborn mind, but he would try his absolute best to make things right. He truly hoped Mason would see this effort and finally understand why Mom had withheld her warmth from him. Everyone in the family knew my condition. The doctor claimed that with perfect care I could live a completely normal life, but everyone secretly knew that was just a sweet, comforting lie. Born with a terrible heart defect and a frail body, the simple fact that I was still breathing was an absolute miracle. My condition was so incredibly severe that a heart transplant was never an option. They could only watch helplessly as I danced right on the edge of fading away forever. Dad's kind intentions totally flew over Mason's head. He bundled all his deep resentment toward Dad, Mom, and me, blaming me for every misfortune in his life. I stared right at Mason and coldly asked, "Can't you control yourself even a little bit? At least close your door so people walking by do not see your fake, crazy face." Mason instantly flinched, spinning around to see me standing right there, totally stunned. I smirked. "Now pay attention here," I asked him. "What are you staring at? Should your main priority not be cleaning up that completely ruined gift? If Dad sees this mess, it is going to be hilarious." Mason scoffed loudly. "Since when are you so kind and helpful?" I snorted. "Kind-hearted, please. I just really want to see how you will fix that smashed brooch. Tell me, if I suddenly ask Dad to show off your gift during dinner, what will he say? You had better hurry up. If that present is not fully fixed by dinner, Dad will find out exactly what you did. I wonder how long his precious guilt and pity for you will last." Having dropped that absolute bomb, I casually turned and walked away. I truly despise the main character of this world, seeking revenge under the fake guise of justice just to destroy the Woods family. Disgusting. I understand he hated the original host and wanted payback after his mysterious rebirth. But even though Mr. and Mrs. Woods never showered him with warm affection, they honestly never let him lack for anything material. The only person who actually hurt him was the original host. His parents were completely clueless. Yet, after getting revenge on the host, Mason stole classified company files and handed them straight to a rival, completely framing him. That wild stunt nearly bankrupted the Woods family and buried them deep in debt. If Chloe had not stepped in to save everyone, the family would be completely destroyed. Taking a very personal vendetta against the host and wrecking the whole family over it is just so completely unacceptable. Watching me walk away, Mason furiously stomped on the broken brooch, seething with anger. "Morgan, I will absolutely not let you win." He slammed his door shut and immediately made a call to order a replacement brooch. He absolutely could not afford to lose Dad's guilt. Dad's heavy guilt was his ultimate trump card in his quest to ruin me. Meanwhile, the system was completely baffled. "I know what you are thinking." The system asked, why warn him? Would it not be better to play dumb and strike hard when he least expects a massive counterattack? I gave a faint smirk. You do not understand human nature. Right now, Dad's profound guilt toward Mason is at its peak. Even if he discovered Mason smashed that gift, he would probably just let it slide. Mason might even squeeze out some fake tears and make Dad feel even more guilty. Everything must be used at the exact right moment to truly maximize its effect. Mason destroying a meticulously prepared gift was an absolute fact, but exposing it now with Dad's overwhelming guilt, acting as a protective shield, would just turn a huge deal into a minor hiccup that eventually vanished. Plus, if I was the one to tell him, Dad might simply think I could not tolerate my own brother. It was way better to save this epic ammo for later, or even better, let Dad hear it from someone else, because that would be truly incredibly entertaining. A broken brooch and an identical shiny new one, would that not be slightly too coincidental? When Mason sneaked out to trash the evidence, I tracked his every move via the system. I calmly waited until he tossed the evidence and brought the shiny replacement to his room before leisurely strolling right downstairs. Right as I walked past the living room, the maid, Martha, stepped out of the kitchen, spotted me, and greeted second young master. "Do you need anything?" Martha had worked for the Woods family for absolute ages and watched both of us boys grow up. I smiled angelically. I saw the roses in the garden blooming so beautifully. "I just wanted to pick some roses." Martha stopped me instantly. "Trust me, you are going to want to see what happens next." "Wait up, second young master. Let me go with you. Those roses have sharp thorns. We cannot let you prick your precious hands." She quickly dashed into the kitchen, turned down the stove, and happily escorted me out to the garden to pick some flowers. I actually wanted the gardener initially, but seeing Martha so super enthusiastic, I stayed totally quiet. "Stick with me here." Martha was actually the perfect pawn for my genius little scheme. Martha carefully picked out the most stunning roses ever. After a while, she gathered some gorgeous blooms and asked, "How about these, second young master?" I smiled brightly and nodded. "They are beautiful. You have a great eye, Martha. This one right here is entirely flawless." Seeing my happy reaction, Martha quickly used the clippers to snip them off, and we picked together until the basket was half full. I stopped her. "Martha, that is enough for today. Picking too many would be a waste. I can always come back outside when I need more." Martha looked at the full basket, totally agreed, and we both started heading back. Passing the grand main gate of the Woods estate, I suddenly stopped dead in my tracks and squinted outside. Martha asked in total surprise, "Second young master, what is wrong?" I faked a perfectly confused face. "I do not know what that is. I just spotted something super shiny hurting my sensitive eyes." Hearing about my poor eyes, Martha quickly tried pulling me inside. I stopped her. "Wait, Martha, let us go see what that shiny thing is. We really should clean it up so Mom and Dad do not get blinded driving in just like I did. Now watch closely." Seeing my insistence, she followed my lead to the shiny object by the trash cans. And honestly, her dramatic gasp of pure shock was priceless. "Why is this thing here? Our trash is collected regularly and it was just cleared out. Why is there stuff remaining?" I examined it very closely and said slowly, "Looks like a custom-made brooch. This is super expensive. Who would break it and simply throw it away?" Martha only registered the word expensive, staring at that broken brooch with deep, genuine regret. Rich people really never appreciate things at all. Why would anyone carelessly break something so insanely pricey? Even broken, the design and material look completely brand new. What an absolute total waste. I plucked the shiny crystal from the brooch and casually dropped, "Yeah, just this crystal alone is probably worth 10 grand. Martha dropped her jaw straight to the pavement. She honestly could not believe a tiny crystal cost that much. Despite working for the wealthy Woods family for years, she was still left absolutely stunned. Seeing her shocked expression, I handed the crystal over. "If you want it, Martha, take it. We found it together anyway, and the owner clearly does not want it anymore. I have my own, so I will not fight you for it." I smiled sweetly, but a cold, calculating glint flashed in my eyes. Mason thought simply buying a new brooch and tossing the old one would easily solve his problem, but he severely miscalculated. He only focused on replacing the exact style, totally forgetting that limited edition items always possess completely unique identifiers. Dad bought a brooch with a crystal vastly different from the standard ones. I purposely dragged Martha out here, clearly not keeping the crystal for myself. You see where this is going, right? This rock is my ultimate trap. Meanwhile, holding the sparkling crystal, Martha was just completely overjoyed. "Thank you, second young master," I laughed happily. "No problem at all. Let us head inside, Martha. Mission accomplished." I had absolutely zero desire to stay outside any longer. Seeing my pale face, Martha worried I felt unwell and quickly supported my fragile arm as we walked back inside. Mom was coming downstairs and spotted Martha supporting me, asking in big surprise, "Morgan, where did you just go?" I gently lifted the flower basket. "Just out to the garden, Mom. I picked some pretty roses to decorate my room," Mom said tenderly. "You really should let others do these little things, sweetie. Your health is super weak. Do not exhaust yourself going outside." Seeing that I did not look very good, she lovingly pulled me to sit down. I smiled brightly. "I am totally fine, Mom. Probably just a little overexcited to be home. I just need a quick rest." I knew the original host possessed a pathetically weak body. Even with the system meds keeping me totally stable, I was not going to push myself unnecessarily. Mom gently stroked my pale face, grazing the slightly raised scar, her eyes brimming with pure, absolute heartbreak. "You absolutely have to control your emotions. Understand?" I nodded obediently. "I will be super careful with my health." Martha came from the kitchen and announced, "Madam, the hot soup is ready." Time for everyone to eat. Mom lovingly led me to the dining table. During dinner, Mom suddenly asked me, "Morgan, how do you feel now that you are home?" Hearing me bring up school, Mom furiously glared at Dad. "What is the point of going back to that school? None of the students there are any good if you get horribly bullied like that. Trust me, we are just getting started," she yelled. That he should have called the teachers. Horrified, nobody knew about the hospital trip and the terrible bullying. "Stick with me here." Mom is completely furious. Even with Morgan getting better, she refuses to let him return. Plus, he has this faint scar on his face now. Sure, makeup hides it pretty well, but that totally doesn't mean the damage isn't still right there. Dad immediately jumps in. The academy Morgan and Mason attend is literally the top school in the area. Transferring him means downgrading to somewhere worse. Plus, his older brother Mason is already right there at the same school. After everything, Mason will definitely keep a closer eye on Morgan. But Mom just shoots Mason this incredibly sarcastic glare. "Leave Morgan with him." That just terrifies her more. They aren't in the same class, and Morgan was tormented for ages. Yet Mason, his own older brother, remained completely and utterly clueless. When she confronted him, he just claimed his club activities kept him busy. He literally missed his own brother suffering. She just cannot wrap her head around it. Is your own family more important or some pointless club? You're practically grown, yet you totally lack basic priorities. Seeing Mom getting super heated and about to erupt into a massive screaming match, I quickly grab some veggies and drop them right into her bowl. "Mom, eat more greens. It's super good for you." Instantly, Mom smiles and her whole tone softens up. Morgan is just the sweetest. Totally unlike someone else sitting here who only knows how to make me angry and messes everything up. She completely loves my little gesture, but absolutely cannot resist taking another harsh jab at Mason. Honestly, Mason is no fool. He knows exactly what she means. He's an ungrateful brat. He furiously grips his chopsticks but stays completely silent. He's terrified that snapping back will ignite a massive fight and embarrass everyone here. Now pay attention here. He worked insanely hard to squeeze just a little bit of attention from Dad, and he refuses to blow it over drama. Lose your temper, lose the war. Dad totally plays peacemaker, placing meat in Mason's bowl. He gives a comforting look, saying kids being clueless is absolutely normal. As his parents, we totally missed the signs too. We should honestly blame ourselves first, right? Seeing Mom gearing up to argue, Dad quickly drops some meat into her bowl and continues. Of course, the blame falls entirely on my shoulders. I am swamped with work while you manage everything here at home. Minor slip-ups happen, but compared to me, you put in so much more effort. A tiny mistake here and there is fine. We definitely shouldn't be too hard on you, right? Dad acts like the ultimate diplomat. A tiny critique, then instant sweet talk, lowering his pride just to quickly boost her up. Mom loves this tactic. Her anger completely vanishes, and she haughtily replies, "I am so glad you finally realize it. You need to prioritize our family way more from now on. No matter how crazy work gets, is it ever more important than us? Morgan is the absolute priority today. If you neglect your son over totally trivial stuff, you will definitely regret it later." Successfully buttered up, Mom's anger cools down. Dad just smoothly nods along. Exactly. What beats family if it wasn't to give you all a better life? Why would I push myself so incredibly hard? Let's pause for a second, we've all felt this. I jump in saying, all right, I am sitting right here while you guys act romantic. If you two want romance, take it to your room. Having a massive third wheel like me here totally kills the entire mood. I give a teasing wink, making Mom burst into laughter. She fakes being angry, lightly tapping my forehead. You cheeky little brat. Dad chuckles warmly but quickly shifts to a serious tone. Jokes aside, if Morgan really wants to attend school, I need to call the principal. Mom, get everything ready. He is our son, after all. If we do not protect him, who will? I literally donated 2 entire academic buildings so they would protect Morgan, and somehow he still ends up getting bullied. Unacceptable. I finally speak up. I am used to this school, so I want to stay. Dad, I will leave the rest to you. I didn't endure that vicious attack just to let things slide. Sonia and her entire gang of cronies, I am not letting a single one escape justice. I am not the type to repay evil with kindness. I prefer fighting fire with a massive flamethrower. If Dad finds getting his hands dirty inconvenient, I will happily let someone else handle it. I am totally confident Chloe will execute this flawlessly. Seeing me agree, Dad quickly reassures Mom. See, Morgan is perfectly happy with his current school. Let us just monitor the situation today. Mom sighs heavily. If Morgan really wants this, you better ensure everything is handled perfectly. After dinner, I head straight to my room and text Chloe. I text Chloe, I am heading to school tomorrow. Can you come with me? Then I drop my phone and go shower. When I return, Chloe replies, got it. I will pick you up tomorrow. She doesn't ask why I ditched the driver, and trust me, you and I know exactly what comes next. Since I asked, I knew she would agree. See you at 7 a.m. tomorrow. I briefly chat with Chloe a bit more before crashing into bed asleep. After breakfast the next morning, Dad starts calling the driver for Mason and me, but I quickly stop him. No need, Dad, I already asked Chloe to drive me there. Stick with me here because I didn't call Chloe over just to wreck Mason's day. My system warned me Sonia pinned her entire breakup entirely on me. So to dodge getting ambushed by Sonia and her angry squad, I seriously needed a ride with Chloe. Our female lead is insanely reliable and making Mason totally lose his mind. Just a perfect little bonus. With his intense glare practically burning a hole straight through me, you would honestly think I destroyed his whole family. Hearing Chloe had my back, Dad looked super relieved. Okay then, with her around, I can relax. He planned to send Mason alone, but Mason instantly jumped in. If Chloe takes Morgan, I will definitely ride along for total convenience. Brothers taking 2 different cars. Outsiders might actually think we are totally fighting. Even knowing that seeing us would drive him totally insane with jealousy, Mason was absolutely desperate to be near her forever. Ever since his crazy rebirth, the times he actually saw Chloe could fit on just one hand. Given this epic second chance, he completely refused to watch her stay hopelessly in love with me. Dad almost agreed right there, but remembering Mason's obvious crush, he paused. He fully knew Chloe liked me, but she was basically just a big sister. This entire love triangle was completely messy. I flashed a pure smile. Sorry, bro. Chloe needs to take me shopping first, so we might run late today. You are a total honor student. You really cannot afford being late like me. Just let the driver drop you off. I had absolutely zero interest in sharing space with him. Now pay attention. Trapping us in one car would instantly start an absolute soap opera rivalry, and I completely lacked the energy to fight a crazy, dramatic war zone. Mason stubbornly pushed back. Totally fine. Your first day back. How could I not escort my own brother? He totally knew my game, but played super dumb. Remaining, completely determined to stick by Chloe like absolute glue today. I smirked quietly. Brother, why are you missing the hint? I just want some alone time with Chloe for very private chats we cannot let others hear. If you stubbornly crash our ride, what could I possibly even say? Seeing my completely fake innocent act, Mason realized I did this purposely. He got extremely furious and almost shouted back, but Dad instantly cut him off. Enough, Mason. Go straight to school. Morgan already made plans with Chloe. Just let him wait alone. If she skips, I will take him. Dad knew her promises were golden, but he purposely threw this out just to completely shut down all of Mason's annoying complaints. Pushed into a corner, Mason knew complaining further would only anger Dad more, so he angrily walked away. Dad watched Mason storm away, feeling furious, then quickly turned to comfort me. Do not blame him. You know his crush on Chloe. He is not fighting you purposely. Dad secretly knew that Chloe had absolutely zero romantic feelings for Mason anyway. Because of the super close ties with Chloe's elite family, let that sink in. Direct rejection is tough here, but Mason truly needed to back off. Otherwise, a brutal public rejection would totally humiliate both rich families. Dad sighed heavily. You handled this perfectly. If this repeats, please try stopping him again. Chloe just really dislikes him. He should definitely give up now before he becomes completely obsessed and trapped. I immediately nodded with perfect obedience. I understand, Dad. Smiling warmly, I grabbed his hand. Do not worry, I will absolutely do my best to make him drop his crush entirely. Dad let out a totally helpless sigh. If only your older brother possessed your brilliant mindset, everything would be better. He gently ruffled my hair, gazing at me with pure sadness. I just lowered my head, chuckling quietly. I honestly respect his crazy stubbornness, but is there truly no other way out? Catching my incredibly pale smile, Dad completely understood my deep fears and secretly wiped away a tear, heavily faking his calm confidence. The expert doctor promised that with careful rest, you will definitely recover. You will live just as long as anyone else. Both of us fully knew this was completely fake, but we happily maintained the gentle illusion. I looked up, flashing a super bright smile. You are totally right, Dad. I still plan to deeply care for you both forever. How could I ever leave first? Dad laughed warmly, patting my head. Then you better do your best. The butler walked in. Sir Second Young Master Miss Chloe arrived. Dad finally said I will be heading out then. He waved goodbye, reminding me to stay extremely careful at school. If anybody bothers you, immediately tell Dad. Do you fully understand? He loudly called out warmly, watching my back as I finally departed. I know, I waved back from inside the sleek car, patiently waiting until we started driving to roll my window up. Chloe nodded super politely to Dad before driving away. Catching my incredibly bright smile, she softly spoke. Morgan, you actually seem in a totally awesome mood today. I grinned back playfully. It is fine. I am just really excited thinking about starting school. Because of my incredibly weak past health, I could literally only stand near windows and sadly watch my older brother enter his car for school. When my loving parents left, I felt totally isolated, but everyone was super busy. And trust me, you and I both know I could never force them to drop work for me. Stick with me here. He finally admitted feeling jealous of his brother's perfect health and freedom. Hearing this confession, Chloe's voice broke with heartbreak. But you can do normal things now, right? Hearing this, he just lowered his head. He explained how much he truly cherishes every single chance to attend school. Even if some kids are mean, he gets to experience a whole new world. His world wasn't just a boring window frame anymore. It was finally vibrant and totally colorful. He acted super shy after pouring his heart out. Chloe gently asked if that was exactly why he hid the bullying from his parents. She guessed he was terrified if they ever knew. They would pull him out of school, ruining his chance to explore. He would rather endure the pain than let his family know, right? Morgan looked up with a huge smile. Not quite. His family was already so busy and he could not rely on their protection forever. He wanted to grow strong and build his own path. Plus, he never actually expected bullies to act like that. First, it was just mean words. Then they got physical, but it was honestly still something he felt he could easily handle. He figured if he could tough it out, there was zero reason to make everyone worry. His family already stressed enough over his health. He absolutely hated the idea of causing them even more anxiety all the time. He just wanted to prove Morgan was a strong, dependable kid. Even for his first time at school, he wanted them to feel totally relaxed. Chloe looked at him, seeing his eyes totally sparkling with hope. He genuinely wanted all those simple dreams to become real, but those pure wishes were being crushed. She gripped the steering wheel tight, barely suppressing her intense anger. Morgan shyly asked if his mindset was too naive, getting bullied and staying totally silent like an absolute fool, saying nothing at all. If the bullying was not that bad, he probably would have hidden it forever, risking his own safety over such silly things. He called himself stupid. Chloe immediately turned toward him. Now pay attention here. Even with his head down, she saw his ears burning bright red. Seeing him so awkward, she just laughed softly. Sunlight catching the glass made her gaze look incredibly warm. She completely disagreed with him being stupid. Someone chasing their dreams is the absolute best. Why would she ever call that stupid? That was exactly who Morgan truly was. Morgan playfully teased her back. If she used that sweet voice more often, she would definitely score him a cool brother-in-law super fast. That first half made Chloe totally ecstatic, but the brother-in-law comment immediately plunged her into deep disappointment. She forgot he just saw her as an older sister. This was purely her unrequited love. For 1 second, she thought he had feelings too. Her tone turned icy cold, claiming she was in no rush. Pretending not to notice, he laughed. She might not be rushing, but her parents definitely were. They complained that kids her age were already running errands while she was still a 10,000-year-old single dog with absolutely nobody trying to scoop her up anytime soon. He burst out laughing. Chloe really had to step it up. We both felt that one imagine others having kids while she flies solo. That would be completely hilarious. Chloe watched his radiant smile, feeling a total chill in her heart. Unrequited love you cannot shake is honestly the most painful kind. She wanted to protect his pure smile forever, but since her heart completely belonged to him, she simply could not accept anybody else. True love meant complete devotion, even expecting a lifetime of zero response. Morgan blinked, asking what she mumbled. He could not hear a thing. Her voice was just way too quiet, and with all that noisy traffic, he completely missed it. Chloe quickly deflected. It was nothing. They were arriving and she would escort him. After the bullying incident, she could not rest easy. She wanted to personally walk him to class for safety. Morgan just smiled, thanking her. Telling her he loved her the most, he threw up a giant arm heart and winked teasingly, successfully chasing away her suddenly gloomy mood. Even knowing he was joking, hearing those sweet words still made her heart flutter completely out of control. Chloe calmly asked him to repeat it, offering to always drive him. Morgan played dumb, asking which exact sentence. Steering the car smoothly, she asked for the last two. He smiled brightly, declaring he liked and loved Chloe the absolute most. Chloe felt her cheeks burning up and cleared her throat. She firmly warned him never to say that casually to other girls. Understand? She lectured him with total fake seriousness, clearly very pleased. Propping his chin in his hand, he earnestly asked if she actually counted as other girls. Chloe answered instantly, absolutely not. They grew up together, so how could she be compared to others? He playfully pressed on, asking about his mom. She fell silent for a moment before replying that his mom was totally fine. She was his mother, after all. Secretly, she worried that denying his mom this privilege might get her permanently banned from seeing him. Makes you think, right? To secure those visitation rights, she agreed. He just nodded. Let's dive right back into the drama. Morgan promises to keep things completely secret, while Chloe simply gives a warm smile. As long as she was on my side, nobody else mattered. Growing up together meant we were the only true family here. We shared some laughs before finally pulling up to school. She walked me straight to class, gently reminding me to call her later for a ride. I happily thanked her and said goodbye. Flashing a bright smile, I gave her a cheerful wave before stepping inside. The second I sat down, my deskmate Tyler immediately leaned in. He was super curious if the beautiful girl outside was my sister. I glanced around, spotting a bunch of girls shamelessly eavesdropping on us. Naturally, I decided to play completely innocent about it. I casually mentioned she was my childhood best friend. Tyler nodded wisely, totally convinced that she was an absolute top-tier goddess. He sighed about his crushed dreams, thinking she was taken. I just laughed it off, explaining we were only very close friends. My brother actually grew up with her too. Smelling some epic drama, Tyler eagerly wrapped his arm around my shoulder. He demanded to know if she was dating me or him. Now here is where it gets interesting for us. Two brothers, one gorgeous girl. Are they heading for a massive sibling rivalry? Tyler was practically writing a whole romantic soap opera mentally. Acting completely clueless about his wild ideas, I softly told him she did not like my brother at all. He loudly scoffed, stunned. Tyler started spinning crazy theories. If she did not like my brother, did that mean she was completely falling for me? I just looked at him with the most innocent, heartbroken puppy eyes. She was literally just an older sister to us. He was completely overthinking the whole situation. He was absolutely mind-blown. A top-tier beauty with completely flawless features, and my heart was not even slightly moved by her at all. Did growing up next to her somehow raise my standards way too high to even notice her? He stared at me with so much pity, which honestly just really annoyed me. I firmly told him I only cared about her like family. His wild imagination was just totally running off the rails. Knowing she was single, Tyler immediately turned super friendly. He started buttering me up, reminding me how close we truly were. He proudly bragged about his extreme loyalty. After all, a deskmate bond like ours was way stronger than absolutely anything else, right? He begged me to hook them up, promising he would basically owe me his entire life if things worked out perfectly. Anyone messing with me would deal with him. And remember, Tyler was the sole heir to an incredibly powerful, wealthy family. His family held insane power, matching the Woods family, but they only ever had daughters before. Tyler was the ultimate treasure of his household. His word was basically the law for the entire Tyler family empire. You and I both see the big play here. Winning over Tyler means absolutely crushing Mason and his annoying lackeys. I did not reject him, but I definitely delayed answering. Staring completely serious, I asked if he really liked Chloe or just wanted to play. His interest was purely a sudden spark. He did not genuinely like her yet. He just saw a stunning girl and wanted to test his lucky charm. Seeing his hesitation, my voice dropped cold. I flat out refused to let my childhood friend become his little temporary game. Dropping that heavy line, I simply turned around and went right back to my business. Tyler felt insulted. He was a great catch, so how was this a bad deal for her at all? Even if things failed, she would not lose out. Did I really look down on him? I turned back intensely serious. I admitted he looked great, but warning that if he played around and left her brokenhearted later, it would make her incredibly miserable in the end. I spoke with deep sincerity, clearly expressing feelings straight from my own heart. That exact honesty just made Tyler even more hyped, flashing a massive, excited grin. Suddenly, a wild shout broke the entire piece. Sonia screeched wildly, violently, kicking the classroom door open and shattering the quiet atmosphere. Absolutely furious over her fallout with Mason, she had completely lost her mind, screaming about his betrayal. He apparently leaked my schedule so they could ambush me earlier. He was the one who actually wanted me permanently finished. Pure, stunned silence hit the room. Tyler instantly jumped up, furiously pushing her away and shouting about my fragile heart condition. His family would ruin her if she tried anything. Suddenly, an ice-cold voice violently cut the heavy tension. Trust me, you are going to want to see this. Chloe is back, absolutely furious. Let's dive right in! She reached the classroom just as Sonia dropped her absolutely explosive confession. Right at that moment, Mason pushed through the growing hallway crowd, his face going completely pale as he saw the drama unfold. Chloe, I can explain, save it! Mason, Chloe snapped, pulling a familiar velvet box out from her pocket. She aggressively tossed the expensive watch straight at his chest. I found this sitting in the trash right after I gifted it. Plus, your little minion just confessed that you completely orchestrated that terrible ambush against your very own ailing brother. My family is officially severing every tie with you. When Chloe quickly hurried me back to the Woods estate, the tension in the air was unbelievably heavy. Dad sat frozen, looking absolutely furious, while Mom was just crying quietly. Martha stood there nervously holding those sparkling crystals she conveniently discovered near the trash cans yesterday. Dad, what is happening? I asked, playing the perfectly innocent victim. Dad slammed the table. Watch closely now, because this is where his brother's massive deception completely unravels. That crystal belongs to the custom brooch I secretly purchased for Mason. He purposely broke it, tossed it away, and bought a cheap fake just to pretend he cared. Chloe stepped right up, sounding incredibly fierce. Mr. Woods, it gets crazier. Today at school, Sonia loudly confessed that Mason specifically handed over Morgan's schedule so they could corner him on campus. The grand front doors swung open and a panicking Mason appeared. Before he could even speak a single word, Mom stormed forward and delivered an absolutely echoing slap right across his cheek. Get out of here! Mom screamed, her voice completely furious. You intentionally harmed Morgan's health since birth, and now you completely ruined his life. Mason immediately collapsed to his knees, his eyes darting around frantically. You feel that satisfaction too, right? The broken brooch, the watch, and the bullying all crashed down perfectly to completely ruin his entire scheme. Mom, Dad, it was Morgan. He totally set me up. He is awful. Dad slowly shook his head, staring at him with pure disgust. Dr. Taylor was right. You hold so much jealousy and a deeply spiteful attitude. You are officially and permanently kicked out of our family. Pack your stuff and leave right now. As the estate security guards hauled a screaming and crying Mason out those massive front doors, I buried my face deeply into Chloe's shoulder, totally pretending to cry uncontrollably. But honestly, a sneaky, victorious smirk spread right across my face. Ding, mission complete. The villain's revenge plot is fully dismantled. Reward, your heart condition is cured. The system's digital voice echoed right in my mind. I felt this sudden magical warmth flow through my chest as my fragile heart finally started beating with incredible steady power. I glanced up at Chloe, seeing her gorgeous eyes overflowing with deep affection. I had flawlessly beaten the system's game, won the amazing girl, and secured a fantastic, healthy future. So that is our story. Trust me, villains always end up wandering the freezing cold streets.